The screams pierced the morning air. Not the cries of birds announcing dawn, but the desperate wails of a woman being torn from what she loved most. "You can't take him. He's all I have left." Melissa Collins clutched the trembling puppy to her chest, its small paws digging into her lavender sweater. The animal control officer reached for his taser as his partner tried once more to reason with her. "Ma'am, the ordinance is clear. No unlicensed animals after the outbreak. The dog has to come with us." "His name is Rusty," Melissa's voice cracked. "He's vaccinated. I just don't have the paperwork yet." The officer's hand moved to his belt. "This is your final warning." What happened next would haunt the small town of Ridgewood for years to come. The electric prongs hit Melissa's shoulder, sending 50 volts through her body. As she convulsed on the ground, Rusty was wrenched from her arms, his frightened yelps fading as he was loaded into the back of a white van marked Animal Control. Melissa's fingers clawed at the dirt road as the van disappeared over the hill, taking with it the last living connection to the family she had lost. 3 months earlier, "I still think this is crazy, Melissa." Victor Collins sipped his coffee, watching his wife scan Craigslist pet listings on her tablet. "We barely have room for ourselves in this house, let alone a dog." Melissa scrolled past another page of hopeful faces. "The twins have been asking for years. Besides, you promised them when they turned 10. That was before everything went sideways at work. Victor sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "The factory's cutting shifts again. Patterson says we'll be lucky to keep half the workforce by summer." Their modest home on the outskirts of Ridgewood had once seemed the perfect place to raise a family. 2 bedrooms, a small yard with a wooden fence, close enough to town for convenience, but far enough for peace. Now it felt like it was shrinking, the walls closing in with each mounting bill. "We'll figure it out," Melissa said with practiced optimism. "We always do." She paused on a photo of a litter of shepherd mix puppies. "Look at these little guys. Free to good home." Victor glanced at the screen. "Nothing's free, Melissa. Food, vet bills, licensing." "Dad! Mom! The bus is coming!" 10-year-old Lily raced into the kitchen, her twin brother Noah trailing behind, struggling to zip his backpack. "Got your science projects?" Melissa asked, quickly setting down her tablet. "Yep," they chorused, each holding a carefully constructed solar system model. Victor downed the last of his coffee. "I'll drive you. Bus driver's been skipping our stop since they changed the route." As they headed for the door, Lily paused. "Mom, did you find us a dog yet?" Melissa smiled. "Still looking, sweetie. The right one will come along." After they left, Melissa returned to her search. Despite Victor's concerns, she knew what a dog would mean to the twins. Their friends all had pets, and Lily had been collecting dog facts since she was 6. A pet would teach them responsibility, companionship, love, all the things that mattered more than money. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister, Olivia. "You still coming to help at the shelter today? We're swamped with the county's new regulations." Melissa had almost forgotten. Olivia volunteered at the local animal rescue, and they needed extra hands processing paperwork for the new licensing requirements. Something about disease control after cases of canine distemper had been reported in neighboring counties. "Be there at 11, she replied. The Pinewood Animal Shelter was chaotic when Melissa arrived. A line of anxious pet owners stretched out the door, each clutching paperwork and leashed companions. "Thank God you're here," Olivia said, pulling Melissa behind the intake counter. The county gave everyone 30 days to get updated licenses and vaccines, and of course, everyone waited until the last week. "What happens if they don't get licensed?" Melissa asked, taking a stack of forms. "Don't ask." Olivia lowered her voice. "The county's serious this time. They've contracted a private company to handle removal and disposal of unlicensed animals. Some outfit called Westward Biological Security." Melissa frowned. "That sounds extreme." "It's all about money. County says it's a public health issue, but Councilman Blackwell's brother-in-law works for Westward. They get paid per animal processed." Olivia glanced around nervously. "Just help me get as many registered as possible." By late afternoon, Melissa's hand cramped from filling forms. As the crowd thinned, Olivia led her to the kennels in the back. Want to see our latest arrivals? Owner surrender from a foreclosure. Poor things. The kennels were nearly full, dogs of all sizes peering hopefully through chain-link doors. At the end of the row, in a pen slightly apart from the others, a small brown puppy with floppy ears sat watching them intently. "Who's this little guy?" Melissa asked, crouching down. "That's Rusty, shepherd mix, about 3 months old. He's the runt from that foreclosure litter." Olivia knelt beside her. "The rest were adopted, but he's got a mild heart murmur. Nothing serious, but people hear heart condition and move on." Rusty tilted his head, then cautiously approached the kennel door, sniffing Melissa's fingers through the wire. "He's perfect," Melissa whispered. Victor was not happy. "You did what?" He stared at the puppy, squirming in Melissa's arms as the twins danced around them, squealing with delight. "His name is Rusty," Lily announced, reaching up to stroke his soft ears. "He was going to be euthanized tomorrow," Melissa explained quietly. Olivia waived the adoption fee. "He's had his first round of shots, and I'll take extra shifts at the diner to cover the rest." "What about the license?" Victor asked, his anger giving way to resignation as Noah giggled at Rusty licking his hand. "I've got the application. We just need proof of vaccinations after his final shots next month." Victor sighed. "You know I can't say no now." He reached out reluctantly to pet the puppy, who immediately nipped playfully at his fingers. Despite himself, Victor smiled. "I guess we're dog people now." For 6 weeks, Rusty transformed their home. The twins raced home from school to take him for walks. Victor built a small doghouse, grumbling the whole time but beaming with pride when finished. Melissa found herself talking to Rusty as she moved through her day, his attentive gaze following her from room to room. Then the county announced new emergency measures after confirmed cases of rabies were reported. All pet licensing deadlines were moved up, with hefty fines for non-compliance. Westward biological security vans began appearing in neighborhoods, officers in gray uniforms conducting spot checks for proper documentation. "We need to get Rusty's final shots and license today," Melissa told Victor over breakfast. "I heard they picked up the Andersons' retriever yesterday." "I can't miss work again," Victor said. "The factory's doing layoffs tomorrow." "I'll handle it. The vet opens at 9. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Melissa's car wouldn't start. The veterinary office couldn't fit them in until the following week. The county licensing office closed early for computer maintenance, each setback small, but together forming an insurmountable wall between safety and what was coming. That evening, Olivia called in tears. "They cleared out the shelter today, said we weren't in compliance with the new regulations. Every animal not already adopted or claimed gone." Melissa felt a chill. "What do you mean, gone?" "Westward took them. Their contract says humane disposal, but nobody's allowed to see their facility." Olivia's voice broke. "Melissa, get Rusty licensed. Now. They're going door to door in your neighborhood tomorrow." Melissa hung up and immediately began searching for Rusty's vaccination records, the partial documentation from the shelter, anything that might prove he wasn't a health risk. Victor found her hours later, surrounded by papers, tears streaming down her face. "I can't find his paperwork," she whispered. "Olivia's gone to the county office first thing tomorrow to get copies, but what if they come before she's back?" Victor knelt beside her. "It'll be okay. I'll stay home tomorrow. We'll figure it out." But that night, Victor got the call they'd feared. The factory was shutting down the second shift permanently. His position was eliminated, effective immediately. "I have to go clean out my locker," he told Melissa, his face ashen. "They're only letting us in until noon to collect our things." "What about Rusty?" Melissa asked. "Olivia will come through with the paperwork. Just keep him inside until I get back." Victor kissed her forehead. "We've faced worse." The twins left for school, unaware of the gathering storm. Victor headed to the factory one last time. Melissa stayed home with Rusty, jumping at every sound outside, peering through curtains whenever a car passed. At 9:47 a.m., a white van with the Westward logo pulled up in front of their house. And so we return to where our story began. Melissa on the ground, the taste of dirt and blood in her mouth, watching helplessly as strangers took Rusty away. By the time Victor rushed home, finding Melissa still sitting in the road, it was too late. The van was gone. Rusty was gone. "They tasered me," she said numbly, showing the angry red marks on her shoulder. "I tried to run with him into the woods, but I fell." Victor helped her inside, rage building behind his eyes. "We'll get him back. I'll call the police." But the police were unsympathetic. The county ordinance was clear. Unlicensed animals were a public health risk and subject to immediate seizure. The officer suggested they pay the fine and reclaim their pet from Westward's holding facility before the standard 3-day holding period expired. The fine was $500 money they didn't have, especially now with Victor unemployed. Olivia arrived that afternoon, proper documentation in hand, too late to save Rusty but determined to help recover him. Together, they drove to the address listed for Westward Biological Security, a featureless metal building on the outskirts of the county, surrounded by chain-link fence topped with barbed wire. The office was sterile, with a single attendant behind bulletproof glass. "We're here about a puppy brought in this morning," Melissa explained, pressing Rusty's paperwork against the glass. "We have his vaccination records and license application now." The attendant barely glanced at the documents. "Reclamation requires payment of the county fine plus processing fees. Total comes to $675, cash or credit only." "We don't have that much," Victor admitted. "Can we set up a payment plan?" "No exceptions. You have until close of business on the 3rd day after seizure. After that, the animal is processed according to county protocol." "Processed?" Melissa pressed her palms against the glass. "What does that mean?" The attendant's expression remained blank. "That information is proprietary." For 3 days, they scraped together what they could. Victor sold his tools. Melissa pawned her mother's jewelry. The twins emptied their piggy banks. Olivia contributed her rent money. By the morning of the 3rd day, they had $612 still short, but hopefully enough to negotiate. When they returned to Westward, a different attendant met them with the same cold efficiency. "The animal designated WC-347 has already been processed." "What? That's impossible!" Melissa slammed her hands against the glass. "We still have until 5 o'clock. Processing schedule was accelerated due to capacity issues. The attendant slid a form toward the window. "You may apply your payment to the outstanding fine to avoid additional penalties." Victor pulled Melissa away as she began to scream. Olivia demanded to speak to a supervisor. The attendant pressed a button, and security appeared to escort them out. In the parking lot, a worker in a Westward uniform was hosing down the back of one of the white vans. The same van Melissa had seen that morning. Water tinged red spiraled down a drain. The weeks that followed were a symphony of grief. The twins cried themselves to sleep each night. Victor's anger hardened into something dangerous as job rejection letters piled up. Melissa moved through days in a fog, jumping whenever she heard a dog bark in the distance. Olivia channeled her outrage into action, connecting with others who had lost pets to Westward. They discovered dozens of similar stories across the county working-class families whose animals were seized over minor paperwork issues, while wealthy neighborhoods remained untouched by enforcement. They started documenting, gathering evidence of the connection between Councilman Blackwell and Westward's lucrative county contract. Olivia created a Facebook group that grew by hundreds each day. When the local newspaper refused to investigate, citing pressure from advertisers, they printed flyers and plastered them across town. "What is Westward doing with our pets?" The question appeared on telephone poles, community boards, even chalked on sidewalks outside the county offices. Melissa began attending county meetings, standing silently with Rusty's photo pinned to her chest. Others joined her, a growing line of grieving pet owners that could no longer be ignored. A whistleblower from Westward eventually came forward, a young kennel worker with haunted eyes who described the facility's back rooms where animals were euthanized within hours of arrival, regardless of health or temperament. The 3-day hold was fiction. The remains were incinerated or sold to research facilities, depending on which was more profitable. The scandal erupted. State investigators arrived. Westward's facilities were raided. Councilman Blackwell resigned in disgrace. The county ordinance was suspended pending review. But none of it brought Rusty back. 1 year later, Melissa sat on her front porch, watching the sunset. The twins were inside doing homework. Victor was at his new job at the hardware store, making half his former salary, but grateful for the work. A small stone marker stood near the fence, engraved simply, "Rusty, forever loved." A car pulled into their driveway. Olivia, returning from another county meeting. "They passed it," she said, sitting beside Melissa. "The new Animal Protection Act. No private contractors for animal control. No euthanasia without veterinary review. Income-based assistance for licensing and vaccines." "They named it after him," Melissa noted quietly. "Rusty's Law. It won't just be here either. 3 neighboring counties are adopting similar measures." Olivia took her sister's hand. "He mattered, Melissa. What happened to him changed things." Melissa nodded, feeling the familiar ache that never quite went away. The shelter called again about that litter of collie mixes. "Are you ready?" Olivia asked gently. Melissa looked toward the stone marker, then back at the house where her family was slowly healing. "No," she admitted, "but the twins are. Victor is. And maybe." A cool breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of approaching rain. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked a sound that once brought pain but now held something else. A reminder that life continues, that love persists, that even in the wake of injustice, there remains the possibility of change. "Maybe it's time," Melissa whispered, as the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. But she knew, as all who have loved and lost know, that while new love might someday fill their home again, a corner of her heart would always belong to a small brown puppy with floppy ears who had been taken too soon, victim of a system that valued profit over compassion, bureaucracy over mercy, and power over justice. Some wounds never fully heal, some injustices are never truly made right. But in their echoes, perhaps, lies the seed of something better. For Rusty, for all of them. Like if you enjoyed the story,